Yeah, it started.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah,
Yes.
super.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So welcome everyone to our very first tech talk. It's a nice way to start the community with this new community that we have now. Um, I'm just going to give like a brief introduction of what the women coding community is about, and we'll also get started with talk right away. So women coding community is our new community, and our aim is to build a safe environment for women to thrive in tech. Our mission, as we've always known, is empower women to or ensure that they are at the forefront of technology and innovation. And our vision is, as always, to empower women through their tech careers, through mentorship, education, and different community buildings and services as well. So some of the things that we offer in our new community, we provide workshops and events like this one. So different types of events, tech talks, career talks. We also connect members with industry mentors. We try to foster a supportive community, and we are also raising awareness for more inclusive industry practices as well. Um, our code of conduct is what guides us. As a community, we are committed to having a vibrant community, and we want to ensure that anyone in the community feels welcome, everyone feels safe, and they're able to share their experiences regardless of your gender or your level of education or economic status. So please do well to read through our code of conduct and ensure that everything that is done is guided by this code of conduct. Yeah, so some of the projects that we run, we have our mentorship program, which is currently running for 2024. We have a couple of clubs as well, our book club. You can join our speaking club and our writing club, which is an event that we're going to be having very soon as well. You can scan this QR code to join our Slack as well and stay updated with many of the things that we are currently running. Some other projects that we have is the system design tracks, our study groups, and we are also currently building our platform project. So again, please do join our Slack and indicate your interest in volunteering so you can also be able to contribute to the community. Yeah, as always, volunteers are welcome. Current opportunities that you can use to volunteer for the community. You can help organize events, tech talks. You can decide to also contribute to the book clubs, contribute to our open source, the platform project, and really just support us in many of the projects and programs that we are running. So again, this QR code to join our Slack if you are not already on our Slack. I'll just leave that for a few seconds. So if you're not on our Slack yet, we'd also share a link to on the chat so you can join the Slack from there if you're not able to scan this QR code now. Well, yeah. So some of the benefits again of the community, apart from being able to participate and be a part of a vibrant network, you get to have like excellent networking opportunities. You get to build your leadership skills. It's also a great way to like get your CV reviewed or just get recognition. So just ensure that you are a part of a community that is built for you. So yeah, thank you. And again, please do join us to help us further our mission. And yeah, I think that's all the slides that I have for this one. So I'll just go ahead to share. Yeah, we can get started on our talk as well. So 1 second.
Let's have a moment and let's have something like a common photo. So I engage everyone to open their camera before you start listen to Sonali talk. Yeah, just let's have a small engaging picture like it's in person event. Okay. One person, Tiara. Hi, Kara. Yeah, more. Oh, hi, Isabel. Okay, waiting a bit more. Okay. Oops. Okay, see more and more faces. Beautiful. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect. It's done well. Thanks a lot. Okay, now our imaginary microphone go to Sonali, who actually is a big expert in software engineering. Right now, she is lead engineer at IaC. Yeah, IaC. Yeah, so I give my imaginary microphone to you.
Hello, everyone, and I'll start sharing my screen as well. And I'll give you a brief introduction about myself. Uh, Hello, I am Sonali Goyal. I'm a senior engineer at UX Net-a-Porter. I craft e-commerce solutions that prioritizes flexibility, reliability, and scalability. And as a certified AWS solution architect, I have in-depth knowledge of the AWS services as well. Just to enhance my service knowledge about AWS, I try to understand more about infrastructure as code. And here I am today to introduce to you what is Terraform. And I would like to just know if you can comment that or what are your skills level. This will be like a very basic introduction to Terraform. And if you have any questions, please drop some those questions in the chat. And if you want to ask me, just stop me, and you can ask those questions as well. So I'll move to my first slide. What is the agenda for the talk today? What is Terraform? Why IaC? Key features of Terraform, Terraform providers, a brief introduction to Terraform workflow, and a very simple demo. Hope you will get to know something about Terraform from this session. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So what is Terraform? When I heard the word Terraform, I used to think, oh, it's a new language. I'm behind something. Or is it a new framework or a new cloud provider? It was very confusing with so many things going on. It gets very muddled up. But if you'll jump into it, you'll realize the simplicity of Terraform. So Terraform is nothing but it is a tool. It's an infrastructure as a code software tool. It have its own syntax and configuration language, but it looks trickier, but it is very simple. It's simple to learn and simpler to implement. The best part of Terraform is you can create resources on cloud platforms and other services through their API interfaces, and these are exposed via providers. So Terraform has a concept called Terraform providers, and that will help you to provision those resources in cloud. So why we had to build this tool and what was the need, I'll try to cover in my next slide, but I'll just pause here and give you a brief. I'll give you a few seconds to read through this slide as well. It's an open source tool, and it is developed by a HashiCorp company. And till now, it is an open source still, but the HashiCorp is in process of having a deal with IBM, and it might get acquired. So until we have it open source, just enjoy it, learn it, and grow with it. Next, I would just highlight why IaC, why we have to think about it, why Terraform, what was missing, why Terraform has to come in. So IaC as a meaning is infrastructure as code. So you provision resources on your different cloud platforms. So those are your infrastructure now in cloud. So if you have to provision some resources or services, or you have to create sub services, configure those services to use them, then you need to go to your portals. As an example, on AWS, you will go and say, like, I want to create an S3 bucket. So either you can do it via your tool, or you can go through CLI and create your S3 bucket. Or if you have to, like, configure it for a bigger infrastructure, then you might use CloudFormation. So CloudFormation is again an example of infrastructure as code. So you are building your resources, configuring in such a way that you can have all your resources configured through a template. So to simplify that, the Terraform comes in and it gives you that feature that you can build your resources on cloud, and I'd like to highlight that Terraform is not just for cloud. It has more powerful utility than just provisioning cloud resources. And why we need to focus on IaC? Because of its consistency. All the environments, say suppose you have to build a same S3 bucket on multiple environments, then you need to configure once. You need to write a configuration once, and then you can deploy it on different environments. But it's a simple example of one bucket. But when you are provisioning so many resources on different environment, then infrastructure as a code play a very critical role. So that's why some of the benefits of IaC are consistency, efficiency, and automation. So as I mentioned before, that as you configure your resources, efficiency is the key. And when you add automation to it, then you are adding stars to it already. Scalability and agility. So you can easily scale up and scale down based upon the resources on demand with a simple configuration change. And version control and change management. So if just think that if you have built a set of resources and tomorrow you have to change it, you'll go to the AWS portal, you'll change the configuration, but you'll forget what was there in the previous version. So IaC is a way that you can maintain your version control. Last, it is collaboration and documentation. So it is to highlight that it is so easier. It has become so easier nowadays that you can view your configuration, your resources through documentation and configurations through these IaC tools. If you have any questions, please let me know before I proceed to the next slide.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Yes.
All right, go for it.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to share the question that you shared in the chat as well. But you can go for it.
Yeah. So Sonali, I just wanted to know, I've used CloudFormation, I've used and I use Kubernetes. So I'd like to know where Terraform sits in in this. Is it how would you compare Kubernetes and Terraform, in other words?
Kubernetes is containerization. Kubernetes has a different purpose and Terraform has a different purpose. So Kubernetes, you need to have your resources. You need to decide your resources, what resources you need to build in your containers. And Kubernetes will decide, okay, how many containers I should have it. But IaC and Terraform is a different, comes in a different place where you will probably in the baseline, you will define that how many containers as an example, you can define in Terraform how many containers you want, but that is just one part of it. Okay, from a Kubernetes and Terraform comparison. But Terraform can provision your S3 bucket. It can provision your EC2 instance. It can provision whole other resources in different cloud platforms. But Kubernetes is more of orchestration of your containers. What is, as an example, that you want to deploy an application, and then you have to forget, like, okay, how I need to containerize it, how many containers I should have it, how many containers should run it. That is the different purpose of Kubernetes, and a Terraform is more like configuration tool. Hope that answers your question, Rajini.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
I think as we go along, if more questions pop up, then I would also mention that we can discuss them.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's move on and discuss some features of Terraform. So, what are the benefits and what are the features of Terraform? So, Terraform is cloud agnostic. So, you can see that you just have to configure, you just need to learn, understand the tool, how it behaves, and then you can provision different resources on different clouds and services. I want to highlight that it's not just about cloud. I didn't start building Terraform with cloud. I started with a service. So I used it to build a very different tool, and it was more simpler for me to learn using that tool. So Terraform is cloud provider agnostic. At the same time, it is a powerful tool to provision other resources and other for other service providers as well. It is an easy to integrate tool, so it can be integrated easily. It is simpler to learn, so it is a format of declarative programming, so you don't have to mention the details of your programming, details like, okay, this, and it's simpler to learn. The most important feature of Terraform is its immutability. So once your resource is created and you want to make a change, so you cannot make a change to the same resource. So it is like whenever you make a change, a new resource is created. Till now, it's an open source, and it would be interesting to know in future what happens with Terraform. And the most loving feature of Terraform is the most popular infrastructure as code configuration tool that people use. Some of the benefits I would like to highlight: the simplicity. It is very simple to learn and understand. Automation, again, I'd like to discuss it in my upcoming slides. But automation in Terraform is like you can have your same configuration to be built on different environments, so it is easier to configure. And as an example, that if you have to build your disaster recovery system or an environment, it is easier to spin up. So you have your Terraform configuration ready, and you are just need to provide which environment you need to provision it, and then here you go, you're ready. I'll just check this. Okay. I would like to know if Terraform can be installed on Windows OS, or does it need a Linux-based environment? I've not tried with Windows, but yes, uh, it is easy to download, and I've not tried with Windows OS, but yes, I can come back to you on that for sure. Any more questions? Okay, let's move on. So I'd like to touch upon, sorry. I'd like to touch upon what is a Terraform provider? What is the role of a Terraform provider? So in simpler terms, Terraform provider acts like an interface between Terraform and the APIs of various infrastructure platforms. So as an example, that you have an AWS S3 bucket that is an API exposed by AWS, and Terraform is a tool that needs to interact with the AWS API. So Terraform providers come into the picture. So they allow you to create, update, and delete resources with those platforms. So the key features of Terraform providers are they help you in resource management. So they define a set of resource types that it can manage, and all those details are very well documented and provided on the Terraform provider Terraform provider website. So you can easily follow those steps, and you can if we have some time, probably I'll show you a very brief how a Terraform provider would look like. Give me AWS. So I'll just try to use the provider. Few things have changed. I'll try to find the exact URL and post. I'm struggling to find it right now. And what else Terraform providers does? It manages state. So state management is a very important feature of Terraform. So it basically, if you are creating your resources, the resources state management is very important. So as a Terraform provider, it maintains the state of your managed resources, and they track the current state as well. What else Terraform providers do? They actually do error handling and reporting. So for an example, that you are trying to provision a resource, and you have your configuration, you have written your configuration, but somehow something is not correct. So Terraform provider will do some sort of validation as well, and then it will give you an error. Okay, something is wrong, you need to fix it. So before actual provisioning the resource in the cloud, it do all these checks and report it as well. Version compatibility. So it does a very important, it ensures that the different versions of Terraform and providers are compatible as well. So this is one of the key features when you're configuring your Terraform file, configuration provider files, then you need to have the right version of your Terraform provider, plus which provider you're using, and your Terraform version as well. Any questions?
Yeah, so I'm just keeping a watch on the chat, and I would compile like a list of questions that will probably maybe answer midway. So, or anyone that can answer while you're also presenting, I would also let you know.
Perfect.
Mm.
Okay, let's move on. So these are the different Terraform providers. They're very famous ones that a lot of companies uses, and you will see a lot of content available on YouTube, on Google. You'll find a lot of content about how to provision the resources for AWS, how to provision resources for GCP, and I have not tried how to provision Kubernetes, but yes, you can. There's a possibility that Terraform is just a configuration tool, so you can configure your Kubernetes pods as well. Next, I would like to highlight what is Terraform workflow. So, how Terraform starts. So Terraform provision its infrastructure using these 5 main workflows. And first, it does like your initialization phase, where Terraform initialize its version and compatibility of all the providers that you have configured, and it validates the compatibility. Then what you have written in your Terraform configuration as an example, what resource you want to provision. Are you using, you have provided the relevant and mandatory information for your resources. Then you can use Terraform validate. Once it is validated, and it's syntactically, it checks all the syntax basically. And then the one of the important phase of Terraform workflow is Terraform plan. So Terraform planning is where you it will give you an overview that before you actually provision your resources on cloud, what it will look like, what will happen. So it is a very good view and a detailed view that in your configuration, as an example, you would have said that I want to configure 2 S3 bucket, and you are using some sort of loop, and the IDs are iterated towards like a variable. So when you do a plan, then it gives you the detailed IDs, like, okay, when it'll be resolved, it will look like that. You will have 2 S3 buckets, and so on. And then finally, once you are happy and you think that the plan looks fine, the resources looks good, and you are confident to provision these resources on your provider, on your cloud in my infrastructure, then here we go, you can apply. And you can, once you do once you perform the Terraform apply, so these are nothing but these are the commands to actually go through these workflows. So this is a command for init and so on. So when you do Terraform apply, then Terraform, all the resources will be provisioned automatically in your environment. It's a key thing that how it will know. So in the demo, I will try to explain that how it will know which a cloud provider, and which how to authenticate that cloud provider. So all those details you need to provide it to in your Terraform configuration. And once you do it, then Terraform apply will actually provision all your resources. And there is another the last step. This is optional, so you don't always need to destroy your resources. But sometimes you want to destroy a particular resource, then that is also a feature that is provided by Terraform, that you can destroy a particular feature, a particular resource as well. But if think of a scenario where on an environment you have your dev or a test environment where you want to rebuild all your resources, then you can use Terraform destroy as well. Next, I'll try. I know it's very small. Is it visible?
Yeah, but maybe zoom in a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay. So in this demo, so we will use AWS provider to provision an S3 bucket and place the file in the bucket via Terraform. So it's a simple, I've picked up a very simple scenario where it will connect to your AWS account. It will provision an S3 bucket and it will place an S3, a file in your S3 bucket. So all this code I'll share. I have it on my GitHub account. So I'll share it with you my GitHub repository where you can go through the code. And give me a minute if you really like. Then we can go together as well. And I'll share the link. So if somebody wants to just go through. I'll drop this in the note. And probably I'll share as well. So this is the main structure. So you will find something in README about how you need to create your account first, your AWS account. Then check if Terraform is installed in your machine. And then if not, then you can follow this easy user guide. And once you have installed your Terraform, then you need to have your access key and secret key. And then once you have cloned, you can clone this repository and place your secret key and access key and change the bucket name if you like, because bucket name would be global. And then you can, if we'll come to, and then you can simply follow these commands. But let's go to the code. So this is your main Terraform file. Sorry. So this is the Terraform provider where it actually configure, okay, what I have to do, which provider I need to use, which version of AWS provider, and how do I authenticate. So this is a provider, Terraform. So in Terraform, you always have your files ending with .tf, the main files, and something called tf vars and other, these are more like a variables file, and this is your main Terraform files. So you can go through. In the meanwhile, I'll go back to my demo and I'll try. So in this example, as I mentioned, that we are going to provision an S3 bucket, place a file in the S3 bucket and only via Terraform. So nothing going to on AWS, doing anything from here for authenticating AWS from like AWS CLI or your AWS dashboard, nothing like that. Simply Terraform, you have your Terraform repository available. You can clone my repository, and then you can, once you have set up your access key and your secret key, then you can perform Terraform in it, and you can see all these, what it does. So there are a lot more complex way to do state management, how you want to manage, like have your resources state management, whether it will be you can run your Terraform code from local as well, but that's what you won't do it in organization level. You have different ways to do that, but let's not go there. But let's just follow these workflows as of now. So simply, if you do this, it will just initialize your providers, and then it tries to install your AWS provider, and your configuration is ready. And then we'll do Terraform plan. So if you see here, it will tell you that what are you doing. So when you do plan, it will tell you that, okay, you are creating an S3 bucket resource, and these are the details. Some of will be auto-populated because they are not like mandatory fields that you need to provide, and some information like the bucket name you will be providing in your code. Once you do that, there are other important fields that you can set in, like your tags. And then next would be like the object itself. So this is more about creating and provisioning your bucket. And this is about provisioning, adding object to your bucket. So in terms of Terraform, we'll call it AWS S3 object, and and you know that inside a bucket we call it in AWS terms it's an object. So the names of the resources would be understandable, and then you will provide the details again, your bucket, and in this case the source of your object. And once you do the plan, so it will just show you, it's like a showcase of what the resources would look like if you do your next. And here, sorry, I think it's just jumped past the apply as well. That's okay. So once we are happy with the plan, then you can perform your Terraform apply. So once you do a Terraform apply, it again does a plan for you just to be sure. And then once you're happy with the plan, so it is optional, but it's a good practice that you do a Terraform plan to just view your resources. And once you're happy, when you do an apply, then it will pop up and say, are you happy with the resource you want to provision? And once you say yes, then it will start creating these resources on cloud. And this is how, if you'll come to your AWS account straight away, then you can see that that bucket is created. So this is my bucket that got created under S3 services. And this is the object. And these are the tags that we mentioned it. So now let's say we don't want to have these objects. We don't want that S3 bucket anymore. We don't want to use it. So as an example, whatever use case we had it with the bucket, it's all done. We have used, we don't require this bucket anymore. So then you can use the Terraform destroy, and this will simply destroy all your resources. As in this example, it will destroy your S3 bucket, and it will at the same time remove this object from that bucket as well. So if you see, once I did Terraform destroy, it will say that it will destroy, and keeps open. And here you will see that on the console that it is destroying these resources. And you can come back and check your S3 service, then you will not see that bucket and that object anymore. Any specific question related to demo or the configuration or the code?
Yeah, so not a question with the demo for now, but there was one question that I think maybe would we could address now. So Gia is asking if there are any open source projects that you can recommend that anyone can check out to see how Terraform is being used for different levels. So someone that is just starting out as a beginner, someone that has been working with Terraform for quite a while, or someone that is is an expert in Terraform. Really just share resources or anything you recommend on anyone that is just getting started with Terraform that could help them better understand and be able to also follow through with this demo, essentially.
Yeah, so I think Terraform, I'll share the Terraform URL, like their own website. It has plenty of resources, frankly. I learned directly from Terraform website. They have some amazing modules and tutorials as well. But you can use a lot of YouTube. I frankly recommend, because in Terraform, I can recommend a lot more resources, but it will be more like which cloud provider you are using. So it's critical that it's your journey should be aligned towards which cloud provider you are confident in, and or maybe any services that have a Terraform provider. Then it's so many providers, but it should be a comfort zone, because you should be confident in your service or your cloud environment which you will be building via Terraform, and then you can choose different resources. But if you'll come to this page on Terraform website, this is helpful. So these will give you all the modules, all the different AWS providers, and this is, I think I was trying to find like how you see the actual. I'll share my screen. So this is the link I showed, shared it on the screen. And as an example, it is how do you provision a VPC using Terraform. So it's a very straightforward, they have given you an example, and at the same time, they'll give you the details. So when you start it, how do you configure it? What is required? Which field is important? What would be the sample examples? So it's extensively you can use it. They have a lot of information. And I recently, just now I saw that they have some tutorials as well. So start from here, and if you have anything specific, just reach out to me and I will be happy to help. Coming back to this, I think slide. So yeah, these are some references. I think this was on my slide as well. Terraformbestpractices.com. It is very helpful for you to just go through. First resource is the most important, the most helpful. Just start with reading smaller resources. Try to build smaller resources. That would be my advice. Because if you start building, if you start thinking of building a lot of resources in AWS, you will feel overwhelmed. So that's why in this demo also I've just picked up the simplest one that you can create it. That's it from me.
Thank you very much for that. I guess a lot of people, or I can say, okay, yeah. So we do have a question from someone raised their hand just now. Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry, I raised it by mistake.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
So I'm not sure what level we're in on the course. So maybe you are a beginner or you've worked with Terraform for a while. But I think the basic of like an intro get you familiar with what Terraform is about. And I hope you were able to maybe learn something new, and maybe it also piqued your curiosity on like Terraform is about and what you can do with it. It's not it's not an in-depth it's not an in-depth session. It's just to familiarize you with Terraform, because like Sonali said, there are a lot of resources out there and it can feel overwhelming. But as long as you're interested and you start from some of the resources that she has shared, and then you go from there, I think you'll be able to like get more familiar with Terraform as well. So I personally, I used Cloud Academy just to like familiarize myself with that. I took a course and then I tried like a little pet project. And from there, I was able to learn more and understand Terraform. So again, it's small steps, and you don't have to feel overwhelmed or feel like it's something that is out of this world that you cannot understand. So yeah, does anyone have any questions or anything that, yeah, Leslie said HCL Terraform doesn't look as scary as I thought. Yeah, it's not scary once you get started with it. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Yeah. So Arvin is asking, are we going to have any advanced sessions? Yeah, so actually, we are going to share a feedback form just before the end of this session. So you can let us know how the session went and what you thought of the session, and then give us suggestions of what topics you would like us to cover in future talks as well. If there are no other questions, I would go ahead and share the screen. But Afsha is asking if the recording will be posted on YouTube. This is currently being recorded, but we would communicate to you on the Slack channel when and where we are going to upload the recordings to, if we're able to do that. So please do join our Slack channel. I've shared the link up there, but I would also share it again. I think I can share my screen so you can also give feedback as well. Does anyone have any questions for Sonali? Any other questions, Sonali? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to share my screen now. 1 second. Okay. So can you access the slides on GitHub? No. But Sonali, would you be able to share your slides? Would you be able to share your slides with the community?
Yeah, sure, for sure. I'll share the link. So this is at the moment it doesn't have a public link. I'll create it and share it on the community.
Okay. So we'll post that on the Slack channel as well. 1 sec. So I was going to share my screen. Yeah. So please do. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
Please scan this QR code to let us know what you thought of the session. It's our very first session, but there was always a room for improvement. So please do fill out the form, and also let us know any of the topics you like us to cover in future sessions as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to look through the chat for any other questions that we might have. Okay, so Lisa also mentioned something about if there's anyone that has been using Terraform on Windows. I think we can share this question with the community on Slack as well, and anyone that responds then will be able to most likely help as well. Okay. Isabel mentioned that she sometimes works with Terraform at work, and this presentation help her feel less intimidated about it. Exactly. Okay. I think that's all the questions that we have. Thank you very much for joining this session. Again, please do make sure to scan the code and leave your feedback for us so that we can improve our future talks. Thank you very much for joining this session, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonali. That was really useful. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a
much,
lot.
everyone.
Thank you for
Thank
joining.
you.
Thank you for the help. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.